Stop.
I feel thankful that there was I was feeling a little bit nervous about coming, as I do frequently. I felt nervous the first time I met with the ad hoc committee, only because I feel that now I am in a role of a leader, that there's an expectation that I'll provide change. And so I feel very self-conscious and sort of vulnerable in the fact that I can't move mountains. And so I appreciate the fact that I was not put in a position of defending myself or attacked in any way for what I can't do. So I appreciate that, and I don't feel like I learned a whole heck of a lot new. As I said, I think we're preaching to the choir at this point. Like, I think we're all sort of on board. So it's an interesting concept. I think if you were to look at language as a first point of contact, I think this experience was a tad unusual for me, and I'm a bit of an unusual person, so it would probably be very unusual for someone a little bit more mainstream. The room, the environment of the building, the look of the board, the energy in the space is just a little unusual. So if we were to invite less unusual people to the table, it might be a barrier to them fully participating. So if you're going to further this experiment, I would suggest maybe a more moderate environment, like, I don't know what I could suggest, but a hotel room, meeting space, or...
But this is a really good environment for people who are experiencing homelessness. Because this is where we're right in the room. But I can see what you're talking about. I mean, like, I can't see any of our mayors coming in here.
Well, my mayor might. Yeah, Chris might.
Yeah.
But again, that's preaching to the choir. I mean, I think he's already progressive. He's pretty progressive.
Yeah.
Are you finished?
I'm finished.
I'm
finished on it.
I too don't feel like I learned anything new. I think that I've enjoyed the conversation. I've enjoyed, I mean, what you say, Rose, could be very much what I said at political events. So I don't think that we differ in terms of our understanding or our ideas or our solution. So that's been enjoyable. I don't feel like we have solved a problem. I think we have. For me, I still the fundamental group question, which is this solvable in the current structure of society? I think the answer for me is still no.
And if I could just add to that quickly, the only thing that I see as a very, very small progression is that we've got the meeting of two worlds at a table. So right. Those that are living in homelessness and those that are in a position of power. And although we're if you were to take a spectrum, we're probably right in the middle. You guys on this side and us here, and here's where we have to reach. But at least that conversation it happened. So it's
So that hadn't happened before? Or?
But,
in different context. We have the power in that on our side because we are the voters.
That's right.
So, it's a interesting concept there, though, because it is the first time that the homeless have actually felt that they might be included in a major decision making that will affect their lives.
Right.
Because too often when we're in meetings that are at like City Hall and that, we're shut down. But we're not shut down within our own voices. The extra security ensures that we behave ourselves in accordance to mainstream, meeting criteria. Where it's like, okay, well, come down and see what we live in, and come and see how your bylaws affect how we live. Not very many people have done that. The only person that I could ever remember in my lifetime was Emery Barnes when we were talking about income assistance. He actually lived that for the 6 months, and he talked about that for years, how that impacted him. I would like to put a challenge out to the council members, and maybe some of the mayors to actually come out and live on a long weekend with no checks, with no access to their funding, and come and see what it is that the homeless have to go through when they have no place for food, they have no sheets or sleeping bags, and they have to come and stand in line and hope that you actually get a bed when you get to the front of the line. Live through that experience. Come and live in your car and then find out that's a different world altogether when you live in your car and you have a bylaw officer that comes and wakes you up at 1 and 2 in the morning and tells you to move along, and you move the next block, the next kilometer, and then you have another bylaw officer comes and tells you to move along.
Come to us bylaw, we don't have any bylaw officers in the middle of the night.
Yeah, exactly, everything we have.
Yeah, that's a good way to take it out there.
All right. Jane is inviting
only
us.
a part-time bylaw
homeless
officer.
population is invited to
Now the police might be a different story. They're not the bylaw officers, so they'd probably ask you to move along. But
Yeah.
Yeah, until last year you didn't have the camping bylaw either, until the emergency sessions.